Hey guys, Dano Zero, how you doing? I hope all is well in YouTube land, whatever part of the world that you are in. All right, a quick coffee chat here. Um, hang out with you guys for a minute. Holy crap, that's some good coffee. People ask me, what's my favorite kind of coffee, and why do I say, holy crap, that's good coffee? My buddy DeFrog Toad has a coffee company called Odyssey Coffee, and it is outstanding good coffee. And I said I should be the one who, in your marketing thing, you should say, Odyssey Coffee, holy crap, that's good coffee. Just quick, simple, and it's kind of been a joke ever since. And it really does, it makes me go, holy crap. And my favorite flavor is what he calls vanilla swirl. Yeah, it's a little frou-frou. Don't give me a bunch of crap, but it's good. So there you have it. Holy crap, that's good coffee. I don't always drink coffee, but I always drink coffee, so never mind that. Okay. I'll leave a link to them, by the way, down below if you want to go check them out. Next question. Why do I raise my arms at the beginning of every video? I don't know. It's just my thing. That's what I do. I'm not quite sure what to do with my hands whenever I'm talking, like old Ricky Bobby. And so I just kind of put them up and greet everybody. Hello. Giving a big, giant hug to everybody. So there you have it. That's the reason why I raise my hands. Do I wear the same shirt over and over every day? No. It'd get a little funky after a while. I have several of these silver Dickies work shirts. These are my favorite shirts. They're silver Dickies work shirts. I have several of them. Some with sleeves cut off for summertime. Some with sleeves still on for the wintertime. And if I'm doing something and I rip one of the sleeves or I get a burn hole in it or something, well, all of a sudden it becomes a summer shirt. Just cut the sleeves off and bada bing. So there you go. Okay, now what I wanted to get into in the video was why I chose homesteading, the homesteading lifestyle. I get a lot of questions about a lot of people ask me, what do you do for a living? And I don't really understand the question, I guess. I heard an old mountain dude, Eustace Conway, said it the best one time. He said, I live for a living. I don't understand, if you're wondering how I make money, well, there's all different kinds of ways to make money. And it's not how you make money is not the question. The question is how much money do you feel that you need in order to live a decent lifestyle and to live a comfortable life. And to me, a comfortable life is, we're fed, we got a roof over our head, the kids are well dressed and well educated and happy and healthy, which they are. My kids are honor roll students. They do very well. They keep their work up. Everybody has a set of chores that they do every day without exception, because that, in my opinion, teaches them a little bit of responsibility, which comes along with living on a homestead. You always have stuff that you need to do. So my kids are good. I consider myself a successful parent. My family's well taken care of, and so I consider me to be a success. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not any kind of a life coach, geologist, or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just a dude, and I made a decision several years back that this is what I was going to do. One of the main reasons, y'all that have known me for a while here on my channel know that I guess we're going on almost 9 years now. About 9 years ago, my wife Lupita had a cerebral hematoma in her brain, and it was one of the arteries in her brain that ruptured, and she had a big, large brain bleed, and it almost killed her, and it left her completely and totally handicapped. She's got severe brain damage. So I was never going to ever put her into a nursing home or a care home or something like that, ever, never ever. I brought her home and I cared for her here. I learned basic, physical therapist stuff. When she was in the hospital, I watched what the physical therapist did. I asked questions, and that's the kind of stuff that I do with her here at home. And she can get up, she can get herself a drink of water, she can, take herself to the bathroom. most of the time. Sometimes, there's good days and bad days, and we'll leave it at that. Um, it's just, it is what it is. And I was never going to. She used to call me her pit bull because I am extremely, extremely loyal to my friends and family. Extremely loyal to my friends and family, and I am fiercely protective of them. And we'll leave that one at that too. So, but anyway, she when she went down and she was handicapped, I made the decision that I was never going to leave her side. And even if that meant to go out and have a where punch a time clock job where you go and you leave every day. I'm not going to leave her here by herself because she can't take care of herself. One. Two, I'm not going to make my children, who are still, they're still, at the time, my kids were a little bitty. And there's no way they could have dealt with any kind of a grand mal seizure or nothing like that. There's no way they could have dealt with that. That would have traumatized them. I wasn't going to put that on them. And there was no way that I would get enough money with any kind of job that I would be able to get. I wouldn't make enough to pay for like a home care nurse or somebody to sit out here all the time with her. I just wouldn't make that much money to be able to pay the nurse and be able to pay whatever bills we had. So I decided, okay, this is what it's going to be. I will be here, and I've got to figure out how to live and keep everybody happy and healthy and fed from here. So what do? And I made two columns I made a column of needs and I made a column of wants. What do we really need and what is considered to be a want? Is cable TV a need? No. And I found out that I had a few things in the column of needs that weren't actually needs. You could get rid of them and deal without them and deal quite comfortably and happily without them. So, things like cable, was gone. No car payments. That's one of the things. I don't need a lot of money to live. I don't have a lot of payments. I can get by on probably $500 or $600 a month, and that will cover everything that we need. Simply because I've taken steps over the last, like I said, 8-9 years to make the house more efficient, to make sure that we're able to keep it cool and heated with less cost out of our pocket. I blew extra insulation in. Was the very first thing that I did back about 7 years ago. I put some insulation into the attic, extra insulation. I started switching all the light bulbs from regular bulbs or the fluorescent bulbs to LED bulbs, and all that helped out a great deal. We made the heat exchanger to heat the house. We're trying to figure out new ways of cooling the house. We started adding on little by little, and it's taken me many, many years to get to where I'm at now, and I want to continue to move forward on that. But adding the solar panels and the batteries and the animals and the bigger garden area and all clearing out extra any place that I've got on my property. I've got just under 5 acres, and I try to keep anything that's level that I can garden. I try to clear it off, and I didn't have any bulldozers or backhoes and all that kind of stuff. I had a chainsaw and a sickle, and that's what I cleared my property with. And it takes a lot of work, and it was hard work, but it was worth it. Now I've got areas of my property that I can plant fruits. We've got a little fruit orchard now that's new. It's not producing yet, but it will be here soon. Berries and fruit trees, bigger garden areas, which was the next thing that I started learning how to do was garden. I started off with a little bitty garden about this big. And I was like, well, crap, that worked out pretty good. So next year I planted a garden that was this big. And I just continued to grow on that. And learning how to garden, it's a skill. It takes, learning. The best way to learn it is just to get your hands dirty and see what works and what doesn't work. And I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned at the same time. We built the chicken house shortly thereafter and brought the chickens in for eggs and for meat. So those are the kind of things that I've done to save money so that I'm not having to give money to other people. I can do more for myself. If I need shelving or something like that, I don't go buy it. I will try to build it. Excuse me. Build it out of scrap wood or pallet wood, or cut some my really rough boards that I've cut out of trees and stuff. It doesn't matter. They don't look pretty. They serve a purpose. So those are the kind of things that I did to try to save myself from having a whole lot of expenses. To any dollar that I can keep in my pocket is a plus, because that's one less dollar that I got to try to figure out how to get. Now, as far as making money goes, there's all different kinds of ways that we bring money into the house. We sell chickens and eggs, and we sell rabbits. We sell soon to be we'll have turkeys and hogs. We can sell if we need to. We have people, believe it or not, from town who come over here to our larger gardens and grocery shop. They get fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's a way for us to produce income. We work hides, or if I didn't run a trap line this year because I just didn't, but any kind of the hides, the deer hides and the rabbit hides, and if I shoot a coyote or something like that, all those hides and stuff, we can work them up, and that brings a little bit of money in. And like I said, it's not making a lot of money. It's how do you use that money and how you can save your money. For lack of a better description, it's management. What little bit of money we do have coming in, how do we use that money to to its best potential? And like I say, keeping our bills down. I don't have car payments. I'm able to carry bare minimum insurance on everything. I've got a small mortgage that I'm working on trying to get it paid off a lot more so that I can have an even smaller mortgage. Eventually get it paid off here in the near future, and things like that. So just taking little small steps and learning what you can do without is a good way to save yourself some money. And like Benjamin Franklin said, a penny saved is a penny earned. Either way, you still have that penny in your pocket. So I hope that kind of helps a little bit, and why I chose this homesteading life. This lifestyle, it does take some work to get everything up and going. It does take time. There was lots of years that was really, really difficult, and I didn't think I was going to make it. There were times when I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to keep the power on." And there was a lot of times when the power would get shut off, for lack of payment, or the water, or the bank would try to say, "Hey, you better get caught up on your mortgage or else." So yeah, there was a lot of times when I didn't think I would make it, but I never gave up. I never quit. I never told myself I can't do it. I always told myself, you know what? Figure it out, man. Life is just like a problem, and any good mathematician will tell you that there is no problem that is unsolvable. All problems have a solution. You just need to focus on it and work with it and think about it and figure the solution out. Here we are almost 9 years later, and I'm still here. I'm still here, and my kids are still happy. They're still healthy. And it's a good life. I'm very content. I'm very content with our life. I am as content now with life and as happy with my life as I have ever been in my entire life. Even back before Lupita got sick, and we had jobs and we had money, so that kind of stuff. I'm just as content with life now as I ever was. So, other than the fact that she's sick. So I hope that kind of helps understand a little bit of why I do what I do, and it kind of explains a little bit of the question of what do you do for a living. We live. There are ways to earn money, especially living in the country like we do. There's hay fields everywhere. We can throw hay. We can work with other guys. If guys need help doing stuff, I can help them. And there are ways to earn. Doing odd jobs and making stuff, and I make stuff out of wood sometimes and sell it if I need to get an extra little bit of money. And just how it is. So anyway, that's my life. That's how we live, and I'm okay with it, and my children is okay with it. And to me, that is the measure of a successful dude. When it's time for me to, when it's time for my kids to put me in the ground, and as long as my headstone says, "Here lies John. He fell down the hill a lot, but he was a beloved father, and we loved him, and we're going to miss him." To me, that's a successful life. And that's all I can pray God gives me. And so far, that's what I've got, and I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful to each and every one of you guys. I do make a little bit off of the YouTube channel here. It's not a whole lot. I don't do a lot of the extra stuff that a lot of people do. As far as I will never ask for money. I never have, and I never will. I'll make my own way. So no offense to you guys, but I will never ask my viewers to give me some money. So I hope that helps, guys. I hope everybody understands it. And you guys have a great day. Thank you very much for watching. God bless. In the end. Buzz, buzz. The end.